So without a doubt, the 2020 election will be a battle of records. But one thing is also for sure, the achievement of the NPP and the NDC in the area of infrastructure will be a focal point of now. As you may well be aware, the stage was set for this debate when Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia led a presentation on behalf of the President Akufo-Addo government to tout the achievements of the New Patriotic Party administration in the area of infrastructure. Joining me on the show today is Conrad Dumbah. He's the chairman of the NDC branch in Milton, Keynes. He's a chartered accountant fellow of the Association of Certified Chartered Accountants, ACCA. And also joining us for the second time this week is George Odoom, NPP UK branch member, Luton chapter communications team member. Grateful for your time here, gentlemen. Grateful for your time here, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Great. I think your microphone was muted earlier. My name is Kwakye Afreh-Nuamah, and welcome to From the Diaspora. Indeed, for the purpose of this discussion, we shall focus on health, education, roads, and if we do have time, also look at water and sanitation. And let me remind you that you can subscribe and do watch us also on Facebook. Follow us on Facebook From the Diaspora, also on Instagram, Twitter, and of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let's start off with quick thoughts. I'm sure both of you did follow that presentation by the Vice President earlier this week. Quick thoughts briefly in a minute. I'll start with you, George.
Oh, sorry. Okay, in relation to our presentation that we did, it is something that is very clear. Every Ghanaian is well aware of the things that we've done since we've been in government. And it's something which is visible for everybody to see. It's not something that we just have to write in a book for you to know, because I don't know if you saw it on social media. A lot of people were just going about their constituencies and areas with pictorial evidence, taking pictures of buildings, roads, whatever has been done in their area, and they share it on social media. So it is unprecedented. And when it comes to the infrastructure development that we've done within the space of 3 years, 8 months, we've done really well. It is something as Ghanaians we should be proud of ourselves for being able to move the country forward. Because what you need from every government is that when they come in, they need to be able to move the country forward. And that is exactly what we've done. So I believe that Bawumia mentioned a lot of things that we've done. You know about the roads, you know about the water expansion project.
We'll get into some of those specifics. Let me pick your initial thoughts as well, Conrad.
Thank you to all cherished viewers and listeners. It's good that my brother George started off by saying they've done well. Like the famous Nigerian author Olatunji said, when the agama lizard falls from the Iroko tree and no one praises it, it will nod its own head to praise itself. But you see, the irony of it all is that Alhaji Dr. Bawumia, and I address him Alhaji because I'm of Northern extract, and the title Alhaji is not mean feat. You go to Mecca for it. And when you come back from Mecca, we expect absolute honesty and truth, regardless of your profession, politician or not. Alhaji Dr. Bawumia chose to cite himself at the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences new building completed by JM, the Indefatigable, to announce to the world what they had achieved.
Of the venue and
yes.
Which government actually constructed it.
The point I was trying to make is the irony of it all. And all we had was a bunch of plagiarized projects, double counting, which I would prove here, and outright falsehood, if I may use a euphemism, if that is sufficient. And I'm sure when we go through this, we'll be able to look at what resource envelope did we have, what did you achieve? Now he's challenged us for 3.5 years to 8 years. I'm comfortable that we can discuss that here. So let's go.
All right. And now before we go to the specifics in terms of the sectors, one thing you would have realized, in fact, within the context of the conversation that has gone on for many years now about successive governments abandoning projects by the previous
That's it.
Is it not instructive to note, and is it commendable otherwise? And I'll start with you on this, Conrad, that in this regard, we've seen the NPP government say that we've continued with projects that were started by our predecessors, and they did state that in that presentation by the Vice President.
Absolutely, Afreh. Look, governance is a continuous business. Someone starts and someone, it's like a relay race. And so it's always admirable that when the NDC hands over to Kufuor in 2000, he continues. And when Kufuor hands over back to the NDC, we continue. And when Nana takes over from JM in 2017, he continues. So that is quite admirable. However, what must be made very clear is that virtually all the projects that have continued under this government as inherited from JM were projects that were funded in all the prep work was done. All they had to do was just watch the pot boil and let it get to conclusion. And in fact, some of them, if they are chosen to stop it, the money will go away. You can look at the $55 million or $57 million Tema interchange project from JICA. If you don't do it, they'll take their money away. The key thing is those projects that require extra funding to proceed. Saglem is an example. And only a few months ago, the NDC counted over 200 projects, including a lot of e-blocks, which were abandoned by this government. It's admirable they continued at least 27. We finished 46, add 27 to that. That improves the shortage of classrooms and schools available to Ghanaians and ensures that we can banish this shift system that exists. Our children need it, and every government must continue from where they left off. You can't start from a clean slate. Absolutely not.
George, certainly the NPP seeks to suggest that having done this, having continued with projects by your predecessors, the NDC administration under John Dramani Mahama, certainly that does put you on a certain higher pedestal. Is that a suggestion, George?
Yes, please. Yeah, because we have to go back and look at what happened when we left office in 2008, and then they came in. A lot of the projects, they didn't even do anything about it. When we talk about housing, for instance, I'll be specific on housing. We started a whole lot of housing projects, but when they came to power from 2008, or let me say 7th January 2009 to 7th January 2017, they did not even touch the housing project. 8 good years, they did not even touch the housing project. They just neglected it. But when it comes to our government, because we know Nanado is somebody that believes that we have to be accountable to the people and the money belongs to the ordinary Ghanaians. So whether it was an NDC project or whatever, whoever started it, he didn't care. He just said, we have to get it done. So we had to do projects that were left in 2008 during Kufuor's era. The NDC being in power for 8 years, they did not even deem it fit to continue those projects. So as I'm speaking now, we've been able to finish some of the housing projects that Kufuor started in 2008. We've been able to finish it. And we've also moved on and done some of the projects that NDC also started. And my brother said something that for the project that we are talking about, the money, everything was provided. I beg to differ. My brother, please, you have to get your facts right. You see, it's not all the projects that money was sourced for. There were some of the projects that you just gave a contract at the last minute when Mahama was even leaving office. Some of the projects, he signed the contract 28th of December, 29th, 30th of December 2016, without any recourse to how we're going to finance it, because he was just giving a contract to people. But when we came in, we had to really sit down, because my brother, let me ask you a question. If Mahama has been able to, for instance, source for funding for a project, and let's say the project was going to cost about $200 million, and then we come in and we are able to renegotiate the project and be able to cut the price down to, let's say, 100 million, half of the price. Who has done due diligence? Who has saved money for the country? It is us. When we came in, we have to reassess some of the contracts. And when we did the reassessment, we were able to reduce some of the contract amount down. So we did save Ghana millions of cedis. So it is something that the NDC should really be praising us for it, because we are not going to take credit for something that they started. They gave the contract out, but some of the project we have to source for funds to finish it. Let me give you a specific example. Yeah, the university in Eastern region, they gave the contract out. Yeah. Not all the money was provided.
So
When we came in, yes, that's it. We had to source some money and then to help to finish it. And then we have been able to finish phase 1. As I'm speaking now, we are doing phase 2 and phase 3. So it's not something that we would just leave it and say, because NDC started, we're not going to touch it. Let me give you another example. Just this week, some of the NDC communicators were saying that they are really sorry that they didn't finish Eastern Corridor roads. Imagine a big infrastructure project like this, and then they didn't have the money. They just say, oh, we're going to do it without looking for proper funding. When it comes to us, because my brother is an accountant, yeah, when you are going to do a project, you need to source for funding, do proper feasibility studies, make sure that you have the funds to support and to finish the project. You don't just give a contract and thinking that, oh, I'll leave the next president to come and source for funds to do the project. That is something which is a bad practice. It is something that we will never do to any political party. So right. I expect the NDC to learn from us. All right.
If I may respond quickly. Yes, I think my brother is putting out half-truths at best out. Let me touch on some of the stuff he talked about. Look, when we took over from Kufuor, we continued and finished the Bui Dam, and we credited Kufuor with initiating it and providing funding. Because the name of the game is whoever initiated the project provided funding. Regardless of who supervises its completion, we credited him. The George Walker Bush Highway, we did it. And admirably, we brought Kufuor to the commissioning of the project. Look, there are many. Look,
so you're talking about
let me land, please. Let me land. Kufuor signed the single spine salary structure into fruition on the 6th of January 2009. Barely 24 hours to us taking office. We sorted it out. It was one of the single largest projects in the project. To touch on the University of Environment at Somanya, phase 1, costing about $55 million, was fully secured by the NDC, and sword was cut for it. Work was completed, and that is the work that the president went and, if you like, commissioned recently. Phase 2, which includes the other campuses, is what Nanado has secured funds for. So let's be very clear. You had it was a loan that came straight from Deutsche Bank. You can go and check the records.
Right.
And I can send you the records after this, Afreh.
Let's narrow
the Eastern Corridor Road was an internally generated fund, Government of Ghana funded one. So every year you apportion a portion of the budget to it. You cannot take 10 years worth of budget and put it there. So let's be very clear.
Your point.
That's a bad practice. If you talk about Eastern Corridor.
No, okay. let's make progress.
Yes.
And focus now on education. Let's look at the various sectors I talked about. And as I did indicate, we're going to look at education, health, roads, and if we do have time, we'll focus also on water and sanitation. What Dr. Balami said in the presentation is that a total of 2,699 projects have commenced already in the last 3 years, almost 4 years, under the NPP administration, and 1,203 have been completed. Question and to you, and one of them included, and one of the key projects includes actually the completion of the E-blocks started under the NDC administration.
NDC, yeah.
My question to you, George, is that would this not be, or is this not an endorsement of the vision of the Eswa John Dramani Mahama administration? And we know the criticisms that came when the NPP assumed office relative to the construction of those E-blocks. Is this not an endorsement of the point the NDC made time and again about focusing first on access before looking at free education? I'm talking about senior high school.
Okay. You see, when it comes to these E-blocks that you're talking about, most of the E-blocks that were started by the NDC were sited in places that was unreachable. There were quite a few of them that we, after doing our own research, we realized that we could make use of those ones. So we went in and we completed them. But there were ones that we could not use because some were like 5 miles away from the town, you see, and they didn't provide any housing facility or anything for the head teacher, nothing of that sort. So it becomes something that was a bit of a challenge. So we had to look at all the E-blocks and then come up with the ones that we feel like we could make use of to sort of save Ghana money, because we can't just leave it lying there without doing anything. Because at the end of the day, the name of the game is to save Mother Ghana from some of these projects that started without proper due diligence. Because let me give you a perfect example.
The vision to construct the E-blocks itself, you admit, is that your point, that was a commendable,
Okay, no. What I'm saying is it was rushed into. It was a decision that was rushed into. There was no proper consultation done, because if they have done proper consultation, they would have done it within the town. You see, it should be within the town so that the people can easily access it. It is not a bad idea, but we are talking about the implementation and the places that they cited these E-blocks. It wasn't appropriate, because if you are going to run a day school, it should be near the people, not in the bush that you expect the people, because there was a documentary that was done by Joy FM, and then they went to some part in the northern region that where the E-blocks were located is more than 4 miles from the town. How do you expect the people to go there? They are day students. So they could have cited them maybe close to the town or in the town. So it's not a bad idea, but the implementation was very bad.
And Conrad, quick response from you on that, and the substantive question to you: the 2,699 projects that the NPP talks about, do you have a superior record in this regard relative to the education sector?
Absolutely, and I'll prove that very shortly. But let me touch on one point my brother made. Look, this whole charade of is in an unreachable location. George, your house is closer to you than mine. And my house is closer to me than you. The consultation that took place looked at various communities. I'm from the north. Unlike in the south where you have large urban communities, sometimes in the north, you can have one village there, another village there, scattered. In most cases, the land that was available often was midway between the two communities. So that it's not in Mr. A's village and Mr. B has to travel 10 miles. It's not in Mr. B's village and Mr. A has to travel 10 miles. You put it in the middle, they both get there equitably. And the plan was to make sure there were buses that would move these kids there. Look, some of us, I live in Milton Keynes, and my child can go to Aylesbury Grammar School. You know how many miles that is? You're in Luton, you know how far that is. So once you have that access, you can solve that other problem. And so I don't think that is a valid point that you made there. But I'm glad that you completed some, not all. We completed 46. Look, if you had completed the remaining 123 we left, you wouldn't have had a problem. Now to the question that is to me.
But that figure there, that figure of 46 has been challenged by the Education Ministry. In fact, I've heard Education Minister Matthew Opoku Prempeh and his deputy, Dr. Yoajuchum, both that the actual figure in terms of the E-blocks that the NDC completed was 29 and not 40, in excess of.
Afreh, let me correct that. Yes, let me address that. On the 7th of March 2017, Daily Graphic, find it and read it. The same Matthew Opoku Prempeh said the NDC had he was criticizing us for leaving only 46 completed and 123 uncompleted. So to belatedly now follow what Bawumia has said, it means either he was lying then or he's lying now. Whichever way it means.
This is not about Bawumia.
Let me land. George, don't heckle me.
Bawumia, please.
Don't heckle me. On top of that, the Auditor General, the one that has been locked out of his office and sent home, audited those 46. You can go and check the records. He said he had started that auditing and he was about to actually even start a road audit, especially for the hydro project. So those 46, they are there. You can go around and count them. These are not things that are phantom. I can challenge you, George. You go around and find out. You get the location of all 21, 23, and the location of all the 46 that were there. It is quite clear, no doubt about that. Now, let me get into my substantive question.
Have you got the location of the 46? I'll be glad if you can find
If you want, I can find them and give it to you. But you see, the fundamental thing here is, if Opoku Prempeh on the 7th of March said 46 and criticized that for completing only 46 when we promised 200.
All right.
Now he's saying it's 29. In any case, let's even assume we did 29, right? We promised 200, we delivered 29. You promised 350 new SHS, you have delivered 0. So what moral right have you got? Let me land.
Hold on, Conrad. I don't know what the basis is for saying they've achieved 0.
Oh yes, there's no new SHS building. No. Yes, no, that is a fact, Afreh. They have not built a single new SHS building. Forget all the blocks. The blocks are additions to existing schools.
Does this calculation include the 27 E-blocks the NPP has completed?
I don't know. We started, and most of them were more than 70% complete, so they can't claim that they completed what we started. They promised 350 new schools from the scratch. No, I'm not contradicting myself. No, I think Afreh, he's heckling me. No. Those E-blocks are Mohammed's E-blocks. They are not NPP's E-blocks.
I need you to allow Conrad to speak. I'll come.
Yes.
Okay.
If you had one power, you were going to start your own new 350 SHS. We had progressive education. You came and you started your own new background up free SHS. So let's be very realistic there.
Since you brought in the issue about what was promised and what has been delivered.
Yes.
It is also important to address our minds to what you were able to do vis-a-vis the promise you made prior to the 2012 general election.
Absolutely.
And a point, we had then Deputy Education Minister Okudzeto Ablakwa indicate that you would construct 200 of those. You were not able to achieve that promise.
Yes, we didn't. You see, we made a start on it. We completed 46, and 123 were at advanced stages of completion. If my brother George, he can pick the green book and he'll see the list of all the locations of all of them, and he can go and do a full audit.
Okay.
At least no, in fact, I sent a copy of the green book to you, George. I can forward it to you if you send me your number now. You can go through the education section. I'll give you the actual page, and you see them there from page 6 downwards. We promised 200, we delivered 46, and 129 were mostly at up to 70% completion level. In fact, one of them, the completed ones, was what the task force on Galamsey was using. They were locked away instead of being used as schools. So yes, we didn't hit 100%, but let's even say we did 29. We hit a certain percentage. You promised 350, not even a single one. Now, let me go to the question you asked me.
I'm asking about your own record. And the question again is that the NPP touts 2,699 projects in the education sector alone. They say 1,253 completed.
Yeah.
Does NDC have a superior record? I'm talking about the last, the 4 years before NPP came to power.
Yes, so I'm going to focus on just Mohammed's 4 years, 2013 to 2016. Absolutely. And I'll show you why we have a superior record. And I sent that document to you. That document is basically titled, I think, 4 years of quality access to education, 2013 to 2016. If you go to that document, and you can follow it and follow where I go, page 203, it lists infrastructure we had at basic school level. A lot of them, I mean, all the projects, of course, we didn't add toilets to it, but when we build a school and there's a toilet, it's one project, we don't split them, like what has been done here. There were a total of 2,114 basic schools. And I can tell you by region, breakdown by region. Ashanti region 168, BA 317, I can list them, but for want of time. That's 2,114. Then you go to secondary school level. Secondary school level, we completed a total of 990 projects, school blocks, dormitories, science resource centers, and so on and so forth. Again, we did not count the toilets that were attached to those buildings. No. So if you even add that alone, 2,000 to 990, we are well over 3,000. And these were completed 100%. You can check the document I'm talking about, page 206 for the basic school breakdown, page 250 for the secondary school breakdown. Fact, feely. No running away from that. Now, if you take that and compare, let me land, George, it's my turn. If you compare that to your 2,699 projects, in the first place, we dwarf you. In the second place, your 2,699 projects are duplicated. And let me show you why. Go to your delivery tracker. Look for a school called Chechewere 5-unit classroom block. It is counted as one. Then the toilet for that 5-unit classroom block is also counted as another. Then there's another one called course model. You are building a 6-unit classroom block for the course model. You are building a toilet for it as well, and you double counted. Surprise, surprise, all of our E-blocks that we completed, they come with a library block, which you count as separate project. They come with water facilities, which you then pull out. There's one school with a polytank there. I don't know why you would do it a polytank in the school. They come with toilet facilities, not just one-seater toilet, proper toilet facilities. You don't double count. George, if you build a house with bedrooms, a kitchen, toilet facilities, you do not count the house, the bedrooms as one, the toilet facilities as one. And what you have done is you double counted, basically. And you can go there and follow what I'm telling you. So if you look at our record in education, that's just secondary school. Universities, how many did we build? We had one at Ho, we had one at Sunyani, and we have the one at Somanya. How many universities do you build? 0. And I've already talked about E-blocks in terms of new secondary schools. I'm not even talking about other projects that we have done. But if you go to page 6 of our green book, and I can give it to you free of charge, George, you don't need to download with any go to website and be running data. It's free. You can check it. And I'll send that document. If you send me your number, or George, Afreh can forward it to you. Our record in education, just Mohammed's alone. I'm not even going back to Mills, because if you go to Mills, schools and the trees alone, 2,031 schools and the trees were eliminated with classroom blocks, modern ones. So I'm not even going to Mills. But it's a shame for you to even attempt to compare a classroom toilet block to an E-block, or a classroom toilet block to a dormitory block. I mean, Afreh, let's be realistic. You cannot count mediocre projects like toilets in your schools.
Okay, so a key point that Conrad raises is that in counting the projects in the education sector specifically, the NPP and on your infrastructure online tracker seem to have counted or double counted some of the projects. How do you respond to that?
Okay, there's a clarification for that. All right, let me come in with this. Let's say we start a project in 2017, yeah? And then we complete the project in 2017. Then around 2019, the school requests that they need a library or they need a toilet facility. And then we go in because that one too is budgeted at a different year.
So you are building schools without toilets?
No. Let me come in and clarify. Because not all public schools in Ghana have got toilet facilities. You and I can bear witness. Not all public primary schools have got toilet facilities. So there were some schools that they requested, after we built the classroom block, they requested that they needed toilet facility, which we captured in the budget in 2019. So if you look at the record, they were done at different years. It wasn't done on the same year. So they were done on different years. So we have to count them as something that we done on that particular year. That is why perhaps you are saying that we've done a classroom block and we've done a toilet facility. Let me come in and clear something, because my brother from the NDC has really committed this error that I think that if I say this, he himself will know that I'm right. He said we never built any school, not even one. But now you are
I said a new school. You promised 350 new, not expand.
Okay, I'll go to Ketu South, yeah? Ketu South. Go and check the record. You go and check it there. Ketu South, yeah? We've done 3 new schools. You see? Well,
what's the name of that new SHS? Is it a senior high school? Because you promised 350 new senior high schools.
No, please let me clarify.
That was your promise. That wasn't my words. I can give you.
Okay. My brother, please. I think you have to allow me to learn.
George,
go on.
What project are you talking about?
And we can Google it as we speak.
Okay, 1 minute. Let me go to just SHS. Let me stick with SHS, yeah? And leave the primary schools and the JHS, yeah? When we came to power, my brother, there's something that we fundamentally had to change, the mindset of politicians. We came out with the idea that if we are to go and start a new school, you see, if we are to go and start a new school, it will take us more than 2 years to complete the whole project. But if we are to do more infrastructure development in the existing schools, let me finish. I'll give you a perfect example. We had about more than 200 secondary schools that we did expansion work in order for them to be able to admit more students. It is also part of expanding the education infrastructure. Because, for instance, let's say you have a house, my brother, you have a house. It's a 3-bedroom house. Now you've got twins. You've got twins. You did not plan for the twins. Now you've got twins, so you need additional room. Your idea is, let's leave this one, go and buy a new 5-bedroom house. We say,
rent this one out.
Let me finish. No.
Conrad,
Our idea was, we like the area. We're just going to do extension. So that is what the NPP did. We did a lot of extension to the existing secondary schools in order for them to be able to admit more students. So if we are to do comparative analysis, you will know that we've done much better. We've done much better in relation to infrastructure at secondary schools, more than the NDC have done. We've done a lot of infrastructure expansion at the existing secondary schools.
All right. It seems the issue about construction of toilets and whether...
Afreh, I wanted to make a very quick point, and I'll make it very quick. What George is not telling viewers and listeners is this, that those school block expansions have always been there, and that's why the NDC set up Get Fund. Over 1,200 of the blocks you accounted, they are Get Fund projects and they are GMPC Foundation projects. These are not central government projects. What we have in the Green Book is what we have done on top of that. So we have to also always be very contextual when we put it out. Thank you for that.
Without any political will, this project wouldn't have been started. You were in power. Why didn't you do the expansion?
Let's talk about it. It does appear that the inclusion of and this time around we move into, of course, education is broad. All the sectors are broad. We'll look at the key issues there. And if you just joined us, I'm speaking to Conrad Dumbah. He's the chairman of the NDC branch in Milton, Keynes here in the UK, and also George Odoom. He's a member of the NPP communications team, the Luton chapter. And we are focusing on the infrastructure debate ahead of the 2020 general election. Of course, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia set the stage for what would always have been a topical issue in this very crucial election. And already, the two major political parties are touting the achievements in that particular sector. We've looked at education. Let me shift to, as I mentioned, water and sanitation. And it does appear that the inclusion, as I mentioned, of the toilet projects that the NPP has undertaken when it comes to sanitation has, become a major source of mockery by the NDC. And for example, the former roads minister, I'm talking about Inusa Hussaini, has talked about the fact that this is an exercise in mediocrity, and these projects would never have found their way if in any book or record if the NDC was touting its infrastructure projects. But my question to you is, why, Conrad, do you consider toilets as infrastructural projects as mediocre for any government to tout as part of its achievement?
Okay, thank you very much, Afreh. Look, the simple case is this. There is beef and there's amani. And that is the point Honorable Hussaini was trying to tell you. There is Keta schoolboys and there is massive chunks of beef or goat meat, if you like. Look, the job of these toilets and stuff like that is what our unit committee members and assembly members use to pride themselves. They focus a lot of their attention on those because they are not big ticket items that central government should do. So that is the space for them. My cousin is an assemblyman and he tells me how many of those he does. That is what we are talking about. We are not saying they are not necessary to the needs of the people. They are needed. And in fact, you recall that under the NDC government, a law was passed that every compound house must have a toilet. And various district assemblies have come up with schemes where landlords can approach them for funding to build those. And there are various NGOs. I have a personal friend who has an NGO that goes around supporting people to build toilets in their compound houses, communities without toilets. That is fine. What we are talking about is, look, the government has borrowed over 140 billion cedis in 3.5 years. Should we be proud of toilets for that? Can toilets account for that? All of Ghana's debt up to 2016, from Kwame Nkrumah to 2016, December, including Tamamoto Way, Akosombo Dam, all those stuff, 120 billion. This government added an extra 140 billion. And what you can talk to us about that is toilets. That is the point, that's what we mean by mediocrity project. And look, all the buildings we build, they have toilets in them. George can tell me one building that we built, whether it was a school, a hospital, or community centers that we didn't have toilets in them. There were thousands of toilets that were done by MPs in their various constituencies, in their villages, and they didn't make their way into the Green Book because we're not saying they're not needed. Conrad, but the big ticket items.
In 2014, there was a major cholera outbreak in Ghana.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Hold on for me. Some 243 people, according to the Ghana Health Service statistics, lost their lives.
Yeah.
Now, this was largely due to the issue of open defecation.
That's it.
And the problem of open defecation that we have in Ghana. Now, the sanitation ministry, the Water and Sanitation Ministry has indicated that, and from the records that Dr. Balami gave, some 5,498 communities have now been declared defecation free. And indeed, the Sanitation Ministry has indeed also indicated that since 2017, there has not been any cholera outbreak. Against this,
that's a good point.
Against this backdrop, would you still argue that it is unimportant to tout the construction of toilets as a major achievement across the country when some 20,199 cases of cholera were recorded during this major cholera outbreak in 2014?
No, that's a very fantastic question, Afreh. And look, that is part of the reason for which the NDC put in various regulations and laws to ensure that every compound that has no toilet gets a toilet. Where communities needed toilets, and loads of them, thousands of them have been built. I will feel really, really shy to sit here and tell you how many tons of thousands of toilets that the NDC built.
They were built by who?
Let me land.
I'll come to you.
Most of them were built by district assemblies. Most of them were built by NGOs. Most of them, you see, these are also elements of government, local government. What we have to do is when central government is accounting, they should look at it. Look, don't suggest that between 2013 to 2016, not a single toilet was built by government. Will you say that? No. But we didn't put them there because, look, I will feel shy to compare a toilet to a water treatment plant or a polytank to water treatment plant. They are there. They are very necessary. And we need to continue to build more such toilets to eradicate cholera completely. It doesn't come back. And I'm happy they have built them. But put them aside and tell us what you did with the $240 billion cities. Let's be realistic. This conversation cannot be a toilet conversation.
I'll give you time to.
No, George, let me be very clear. Every single project that the NDC built anywhere had toilets, number one.
Okay.
There were thousands of toilets also built, but we didn't count them because we don't deem them as things we should beat our chest out for.
Question, Conrad.
Yes.
Do you have a superior record? And do you consider it as important at all?
Yeah.
You do. What is your own record in tackling the fundamental issue of open defecation? Which is a critical issue. And I mentioned again that some 243 people died.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because of the cholera outbreak we had in 2014 that spread to parts of the country, including the Born and Half region and all that.
Yes. So we did two things. Look, I remember cholera very well because I lived my life in a hospital quarters. My parents were health workers, and the outbreaks in the early 90s, in the early 2000s. Look, there are two things we did to make sure that cholera will be eradicated. Cholera is not just open defecation. If you drink contaminated water, you get cholera, true or false. And so there are two things we did. I earlier told you about the fact that we passed rules, laws, and we worked with local authorities, assemblymen, unit committee men to try and tackle communal toilets. Of course, we built some. In some of our projects, you may see 12-seater toilets, so on and so forth, but we don't focus on it. But the most critical thing we also did was we added 107.9 million gallons of potable water to the country over the 4-year period we're in government. Look, water, dirty water can give you guinea worm, can give you cholera, can give you so many other things. And the projects are there. Look, go to our page 60 of our green book. They are all there, feely. Some of the signature projects that delivered this 107 million gallons of water include the Comm water project. You know, I don't need to tell you how much, what it is. This is one that provides millions of gallons of water for over 700,000 inhabitants in the northern part of Accra. Look, you have the Teshi desalination project that also delivered water. You had water projects, 5-town project, including Chebi, the president's hometown. We wanted to, if you have clean water eradicates cholera as well. So don't just make it look like toilets are the only reason for cholera. These are the two key things we did. Now, my brother, ask them, have they built a single water treatment plant? They are cutting salts now. But let me land. They are cutting salts now. We cut salt, built and commissioned over 100 million gallons of water. Tell him, apart from toilets, what else did they do to
Obviously, you have a superior record, but let me read some messages we from our viewers.
My brother, I think you have to be fair to me. Let me respond.
Yeah, I'll come to you. Certainly. Aniwaba says, Afreh, clearly no political party must pride itself of building public toilets in this era. That's from Solomon Mensah. And also, this one, Unorthodox says, every reasonable person knows schools must come with toilets, libraries, etc. And how does the NPP in this day and age build schools without toilets and wait for people to request for toilets? I have another message coming in. Godwin Canton says, how can we be arguing over toilets in this era? Ghana is way better than that. So, George, you heard what Conrad said. Is it?
Yeah, let me respond.
Is it the case that simply because of lack or absence of enough projects, infrastructural projects to boast about, the NPP is now relying largely on toilets you have constructed across the country? Is that the case?
No, that's not the case. Let me clarify something from one of the texts that you read. You see, the issue is, as Ghanaians, we have to be honest with ourselves. From your own hometown or the town that you were, obviously were living in Ghana before you traveled abroad, or those that are listening to us in Ghana, I want people to go around and check the existing schools that are there. I can tell you more than 50% of existing schools, I'm talking about primary schools to JHS, you see, they do not have toilet facilities. They do not have toilet facilities. A lot of them, they do not have toilet facilities. So it's not NPP that is building schools without providing toilet facilities. It has been a problem that has been existent for years. So when we came to power, we have been trying to change the normal norm. When we build the classroom block, then we do the toilet facility as well.
So you don't count it double then?
No, let me finish. You see, what I explained the other time.
Okay, sorry.
Let's say we budgeted for something in 2017. We've done it. And in 2018, we budget for something different. We have to record that one as well as some infrastructure that we did in 2018. So if we've gone back and done a toilet facility for them, then it's something that we have to record. You see, people were saying that, oh, why are we talking about toilet? You see, the outbreak of cholera is something that even in the 90s, it was a problem. And then I'll give you a specific area in Accra, Choko and some surrounding areas. When there's outbreak of cholera, a lot of them get involved in this issue. It's like, you see, cholera outbreak can cause a lot of havoc. Like my brother said, it's not only providing toilet. You have to also look at water facility. That is why when you go to the northern region, you see, we've done 2. My brother said we should tell you what we've done. In the northern region, the president went, you see, let me finish. We've done a lot of water treatment plants or centers that we've done and dams that we built for water facility. We've done, you know, together with the NGOs, like you said, the local government system.
Name them, please.
And they all come in and help. But when it comes to us alone, you see, the record is there. That's why you say with us, you can track our record. Go and check. It will tell you that we've done a lot of, we provided a lot of water facility for communities that they have water. We provided water for them. But the reason why toilet facilities are very important, my brother, is because we have to be able to eradicate cholera. And we also have to beautify the city. These things were done under the sanitation ministry. My brother, you see, when we appointed a sanitation ministry, your people were complaining, oh, why do you appoint someone as minister for sanitation? We had a reason why we appointed someone like that. Because we realized that there was a problem in Ghana about sanitation. So these toilets that we are talking about were projects that were done under the sanitation ministry. That is why it's in our record. Do you understand? Because there was a minister that was supposed to see to that these things are done. And the minister has made sure that the toilet facilities have been provided. That is why we have to account for them. Because we got the money from approval from Parliament to be able to do it. So if we don't account for it, then this same NDC will come and say, why is the sanitation ministry doing? So we have to account for them, that we're doing this infrastructure development. When it comes to toilet facilities, I will tell you, every government comes in, they do some. I'm not going to say we are the only government that have done it. Every government comes to do some. But our one is unprecedented. I will explain why it's unprecedented for my brother to understand. You see, you and I know that we usually do it through the local government system. You see, we usually do it through the local government system. The DCs and assemblymen, they do these toilet facilities. But because we appointed a sanitation minister, we have to make sure that we build more from the central government, you see, to support the local government, what the local administrators were doing. We had to do more to support them from the central government. So this is a government with a vision. We want to eradicate cholera. Now, since we've been in power, my brother, have you ever heard of any cholera outbreak? I want you to tell me, since we've been in power, 3 years, 8 months, have we had any issue of cholera outbreak? No.
Okay, let me answer that.
Some of these things, water treatment plant, we are doing them.
Where? Which ones? Name them.
We've done some. No, we've done some in Northern. Some
specific. The specific one, if you don't mind, please. I can help you. Do you want me to help you?
No.
Conrad,
The Northern region one. I think the president commissioned that one. I've forgotten the area. Please forgive me for that. I have to check and then I'll give you the name before we leave.
He cut the sword, not commissioned.
What, sorry?
He cut the sword, not commissioned.
No. We finished two.
Okay. Afreh, let me just.
Yeah, I can trace this on the tracker.
Yes, I'll help you for free on the 30th of July.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Where do you
just Google it up? Yendi Water Project and Damongu Water Project. Swords were cut for them in the last week of July. They were not commissioned.
Is that what you are referring to, George?
Yeah, those are the ones.
I'm not talking about. No.
Okay, which one then?
To commission two more.
Which
we've done one already. We've done one.
Name it.
No, Conrad, hold on. Which specific water project are you talking about, George?
No, I'm talking about the two that we did in Northern region. I will check and then I'll give you the name.
Okay, so
I will try and check
on the tracker. Go ahead. I'll check on the tracker. You said the
yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to also check as well.
Yeah. If you know the town, it's easy. Just Google it. But I can tell you for free. $30 million Yendi Water Project. President cut the sword last month. $49 million Damongu Water Project.
The one that we are about to do. I'm talking about the one that we've commissioned.
All right, then mention it and we'll give you the credit. Clap for you and move on. We are that magnanimous.
Go ahead. We have about 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, but I think the fundamental point you missed is, as far as I know, no water treatment plant has been completed. Congratulations for cutting swords. What you are talking about is shed loads of polytanks you've dotted around. I have no problem with you giving people polytanks. And that's one of the problems. Check their site. They have listed polytanks there as water supply schemes.
I want us to, if you are done with your point, I want us to, we have just about 9 minutes to go. I want us to conclude quickly on health. And we
I thought we were going to talk about roads.
Let's talk about
my brother Rose, you have to forget because you can't, you are nowhere close to us.
Let's go there then. I'm happy if you want to. Let's go to roads if both of us are agreed.
And on health, the achievements that the NPP continues to tout is what it has done in terms of procurement of ambulances. And you know, when we talk about ambulances and the politics around same, under the NDC, at the time, I believe Alex Sebefia was health minister, there was talk about a procurement of some 30 ambulances estimated at around 2.4 million euros by the John Dramani Mahama government, which are said not to be fit for purpose. In fact, they have been described as
Mercedes printers. That's it.
And now the NPP says it has procured ambulances for each constituency. And in fact, the ratio now is 1 ambulance to 98,000 people, as opposed to 1 ambulance to 550,000.
You see the difference? Massive difference.
Conrad.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for that. I think you see, my brother just said, "Oh, they were not fit for purpose. They were Mercedes printers." We live in this UK. George, go to Luton, the hospital, Bedford Hospital, Luton. There are Mercedes printers, which are mostly ambulances, right? Milton, Keynes here, there are Mercedes printers, and I can bet you, Afreh, I beg, check where you are. Check the local hospital.
Ambulances.
Relax.
Ambulances.
Oh, but they are ambulances, right? So but whether private or public, they are ambulances, right?
They are fit for purpose, but the ones
Good.
you brought.
Thank you for saying that. Now let me carry on. After you've heard him say they are fit for purpose. Look, the truth is that when this government took over, They decided that every ambulance or whatever the previous government had done, they would leave them to rot, including the Onuado, those massive ambulances, or if you like, mobile healthcare clinics that you see the likes of when you watch movies in New York. A lot of hospitals have them. You abandon them to rot. Look, I thank you for procuring an extra 300 or however many, 307. But the point is, you cannot say, look, what you have is no different from Mercedes Sprinters. You can go and check. Now, but let us be very clear here. Health is not just about ambulances. If I am sick and you bring your ambulance and pick me and there's no hospital, will you dump me in the bush? We were focused on some ambulances, but the main problem was even more hospitals. We built tens of district hospitals. We built University of Ghana Medical Center, which the president said was only the Green Book. Surprisingly, when his health minister and Dan Botwe and Opoku Prempeh were sick, they found their way into the Green Book at University of Medical Health Center to get treated. We built RIDGE. We built Bank Hospital. We built Maritime Hospital. One regional hospital. No, let me land. Let me carry on. Let me carry on. Let me finish.
You did not build RIDGE. RIDGE Hospital was not built by NDC. Get your facts right, brother.
Look. 420 bed RIDGE Hospital. You can't take it away from us. Fact. Listen. No.
Who would you give?
Right. Okay. Whether it was built from the scratch or expansion, the fact of the matter is that the 420 bed hospital, call it expansion, we built it at RIDGE.
Judge, who do you
East Hospital. Look, let me land. Look, East Hospital.
So far as the construction.
We built it. And my final point is this.
No,
coronavirus.
Conrad, hold on. Who do you give the credit to? Construction of RIDGE Hospital. George?
Okay, RIDGE Hospital was built before 2000. So if Conrad is saying that they did RIDGE Hospital, then he's wrong.
The RIDGE Hospital as we see it, today, the Greater Accra Regional Hospital,
good,
ultra-modern facility we're talking about.
No. I'm talking about the expansion work they did there. The hospital was there.
Yes.
Let me finish. The hospital was there. What you did was you did expansion work, just as we have also done in several hospitals in Ghana. We've done expansion work.
I get you now.
We are doing the military.
Look, we can even give you RIDGE. Let me go on. We can even give you RIDGE because we can give you RIDGE because when the health minister changed the commissioning plan to make it Nanado.
My producer Balami has agreed that we conclude with the discussion on the roads.
Oh, so fantastic.
Let's try and exhaust.
Yes.
Matter related to health.
Okay. My final point on this is this. George, let me land. George.
You have to give me more time.
Don't worry. You can have. I don't think you even have any time because you have no hospital. But I think the fundamental judge on who is better on the health sector is coronavirus. When coronavirus came, right? The hospitals that were locked away so that people couldn't use them, like University of Ghana Medical Center, Bolga Regional Hospital, where I grew up, they locked them up when they were completed. The expansion there, the regional piece. When coronavirus came, whose hospitals were we taking people to? Whose hospitals did Napo, Dambotwe, and the health minister go to? You are looking at what? University of Ghana Medical Center. East Hospital. Let me land. So if you are coronavirus, no. Listen, look, you can talk about that till the cows come home. Every Ghanaian knows.
Internally generated was used to build it.
University of Ghana Medical Center was built with a loan from the Israelis. Fact, phase 1 of it. Nanado has now gone for more loads for phase 2. So let's not talk about internal generator funds there. See, that is fact. But the point is, if coronavirus has a mouth to speak in Ghana, it will tell you which hospitals have knocked it out of people's bodies. And those hospitals are John Dramani Mohammed's hospitals. They are NDC hospitals. Not a single hospital
so you think
in the last 4 years. Not even one. Mention one, George.
Hey, my brother.
George, not a single one.
Hey, let me give you one.
Gentlemen,
hold on. You have to be fair to me.
Hold
you
on.
are making him talk, and I can't even come in.
Conrad,
talk. Give me one.
Hold on. I'm coming to you. Now, I talked about the ambulances. 1 ambulance per constituency.
That's it.
Conrad.
And we have an SS as well.
Conrad suggests that a true test of the achievements and the improvement in the country's health infrastructure has been COVID-19. And during this period of COVID-19, it has been the projects undertaken by the previous administration, led by John Dramani Mahama, that has led and taken the country through this moment. Talking about the hospital, talking about the University of Ghana Medical Center, where you've had a number of top government officials staying when they were infected by the virus. How do you place that side by side with your own achievements in this sector?
Okay, let me come in. We've done a lot of district hospitals, which when you go on the tracker, you will see. Even the Konongo district hospital, the Konongo has a district hospital already. But we went in and we've done a massive expansion of the district hospital on a separate land. It's like doing the hospital all together again. And when you go to Kumasi as well, we have the military hospital that we've also done. You see? So it's
that military hospital is a JM project.
Oh, my brother, it's not a JM project. So stop taking credit for things that you have no hand in it.
Carry on. Sorry for interrupting.
You have no hand in it. There has been a lot of district hospitals that we've done. Even in the north, we've done a lot of district hospitals.
That's not true.
Let me finish.
Conrad, you need to stop interjecting.
Okay, sorry.
That's the point. You see, my brother, the thing is, when it comes to this COVID-19, it is not only about the hospitals that we can also say that helped to salvage the situation. It is also by the good management of the government in power, proper policies that were taken in order to be able to face this COVID-19, and then in order to be able to fight against it properly. It was done by our good, competent president. You see, he's the one that came with the ideas, what we can do together with the Ghana Health Service. And they came out with the idea because, for instance, you see, even we can make a comparative analysis with the UK. People are complaining about the UK that Boris Johnson didn't lock up early. Our president locked up early. He did it at the right time. The decisions he took is the one that helped to save Ghana from this pandemic. You see, it is not only about the hospitals, because let's be realistic. How many of them were even admitted to the hospitals? You see, and these were centered around mainly 4 regions. When it comes to COVID-19, it was centered around 4 regions that the hospitals were, I would say that they were in use properly. Ashanti region, Greater Accra, and then there was one in Northern region as well. And then the last one was also a Central region. You see, the other regions, they also had hospitals that they were able to use to obviously treat the patients. So when we talk about hospitals, since independence, every president that has been in power has always done infrastructure development when it comes to healthcare.
Quick question.
NDC has done theirs. We have done ours. So when we talk about hospital infrastructure, our one is unprecedented.
Okay. One of the things that Dr. Bawumia talked about and has raised questions among some of his critics is that he did indicate and mention the Infectious Diseases Center as one of the achievements of the NPP government in the health sector. This was
sorry, I didn't get you.
I'm talking about the Infectious Diseases Center.
Okay.
Which was mentioned as one of the achievements in the health sector by the NPP government. Some have said that this was a private sector-led initiative. Why would you count it as one of your achievements within the health sector?
Okay, let me come in to clarify. You see, when it comes to this particular issue, I believe that it is something that is a bit complicated because even though it was private sector led, but when it comes to the idea of setting up that private sector, the government had a hand in it.
What hand did the government have in it? This was private sector coming together.
No. Let me clarify. Government had a hand in it when it comes to the idea of the private sector coming to the aid of the government, because we requested for support from the private sector as well to come and help with COVID-19. So a request was made to the private sector to contribute, to help. So when they came in, a board was constituted, and the board that was constituted, we had a member of the government as part of the board. So perhaps that is what Bawumia said it was done under the NPP. But for me, personally, I think that because it was a private sector money that was used, perhaps we shouldn't have used that as part of something that the government did.
Good man.
That is what I would say.
Okay, so you think you agree with those who say that should never have been included? That's what I'm saying,
that perhaps it was an error or error of judgment. That is what I would say. That because it was not funded by the state, then it's not something that we have to really. We could take credit for the fact that perhaps we helped to initiate that, but it wasn't funded by the state.
All right. I do have some messages coming through, and then we'll finally
go to the rules.
Conclude with my producer is on my neck. I need to round up this conversation. So unorthodox says that, is it not the responsibility of every house owner to build their own toilets, bathrooms? Okay, so I think we've read that already. And Godwin Canton says, since we were born, Ghana always had sanitary inspectors in Ghana. We never had ministers in charge of this. Yet these people are effective. Okay, let's touch on roads. And of course, the government has said that this is a year of roads. Despite the challenges we've had as a country in terms of COVID-19 and the financial challenges it has posed, it intends to go ahead with this road project. In fact, the Dr. Balami made the point that there is a road project going on in every region. And he contrasts that with what happened under the NDC. He said not a single road was constructed in 8 years in some regions. And he mentioned the Upper East and then the Upper West region. One of the key things he feels the NPP is doing better than the NDC when it comes to the road sector. I'll take a quick comment from you, reaction to that from you, Conrad.
So I think, look, that statement, Balami shouldn't have said it. It's a complete act of falsehood. Look, I was in Ghana in August. I come from the Upper West, and I was born and bred in the Upper East. In the Upper East alone, the Bolga Boku Polmakong Road was started. They came and stopped it. Bolga Bongo Road was completed. Within Bolga itself, the Library Road, full, beautifully tarred. In fact, new roads were cut into the Soil community. If you go to Wa, right, Wa to Dormo Road is there. Wa to Bulenga Road is there. So Laura Hamele is there. We did it. So for him to suggest,
talking about 2012 to 2016.
Of course, and that's what I'm telling you. I know when JM was the one who did that, and I went to Bolga, and I can tell you because of the abandonment. Let me finish it. Of course, yes. Do you want the page? Go to page 98 of the Green Book. You will see it all there. Yes, page 98. I can send you the details later. So it is sad that a whole vice president can stand in front of the public and tell the people of Bolga that the Library Road that we now use because the mobile road is impassable because they suspended the road doesn't exist. It is sad to tell the people of Bongo that the road JM built for them to fly into Bolga market and back doesn't exist. We have to be very, very honest with these things. But look, when we come into the substantive road stuff, I will show you why we are head and shoulders above the NDC when it comes to roads. So on the score of nothing in Upper East, Upper West, it's completely out.
Tell us why you have a superior record.
Oh, yes.
Let's conclude this conversation in the next 5 minutes. So be brief on your point for me.
You see, if we are going to conclude in the next 5 minutes, let me do something very easy. The road infrastructure, and I'll even go into the interchange brouhaha now, if that helps. We initiated and built interchanges. We built Kaswa. We built Circle, which is 2 interchanges, Kwame Nkrumah interchange and Ring Road flyover merged into 1. We secured funding from HSBC, $35 million in 2016 for phase 1 Obechebi Lamte project. Fact. We secured $84 million from the African Development Bank on the 26th of September for Kwakye interchange. You can go and check on their website. We worked with the Japanese to secure $55 million for the Tema interchange. Fact. Now, let us be very clear. When there is a project, look, George, if you want to buy a house in this country, all you need is the money, true or false. You cannot buy a house without money. You cannot run a project. Even if you want to build your own house in this country, you can't build it without money. Even in Ghana, you can't build without money. So if I spec a project, prepare it, go to funders, initiate it, and get funding for it, and you become the foreman that just watches over it to completion. You cannot claim that is yours. The only interchange that Nanado can claim is Tamale interchange. And this whole thing about, it's inflated, it is neither here nor there. Number one, the NDC claimed that 4 interfaces, NPP claimed that 4 interfaces cost 289 million when we have 260 for one. That is a lie. Even the addition is wrong. Add 55 million from Tema, add 84 million from Pokwase, add 135 million for what do you call it, for Ubechebi, and add 35 million for Tema interchange. Do the math and tell me if it's 289. You have understated it by 22 million. It's 311 million, but your addition was wrong. So when Baumia stands there and can't even do simple addition and get it correct, I worry about the others. Now, the other point is, look, if you go to the circle interchange, if you have 2 interchanges, what you call Kwame Nkrumah interchange from Ghana Commercial Bank flying over towards Caprice, it was one in itself. That project cost 74 million euro, which is $90 million. What you see from busy internet to Odoom is a completely new project, completely separate project. If you go and check Parliament, you see that the contracts, the acts in Parliament for those are completely separate. That was 170 million. That's how come when you add it, you get 260. But the question you should ask is, it is not one project, my brother. Look, there are 2 contracts. You go to Parliament, and I challenge you on this. Go and check the archives of Parliament. I will tell you for free that the Kwame Nkrumah interchange, the contract was signed on 23rd of October 20. Let me land, please, and then you take your time. Yeah, the contract for Kwame Nkrumah was signed in October 2014. The contract for Ring Road flyover was signed in October 2015. One clear year difference, so they can't be one project. But even if you look at the nature, that bridge is made of composite steel, and it's wider. So the specs of that bridge, look, there are bridges, there's a police station, there's a fire station, there are so many ancillary facilities that come with that to justify that cost. Now, if you look at what you did on Obechebi, you added Obechebi and said 135 million, and you added into brackets made of composite steel. That is the same contractor doing Obechebi that circle. And he's using, and that's why Obechebi is 135 million for 3 tier. However, surprise, surprise, Pokwase is 4 interchanges for what? For what? 84 million. So are you telling me that the Obechebi Lamte you are claiming is overpriced compared to 4 interchange over there?
Thank you very much, Conrad. Let me come
in. Yeah, please. Okay, let me clarify something. Yeah, when it comes to Kaswa interchange, yeah, my brother was trying to mislead the people because you see, it was a contract that was awarded during the NDC era, but it was meant to be a 3-tier interchange.
You meant Pokwase?
When we came in, let me finish Pokwase. That's what I'm talking about.
Good. Well, you said Kaswa. I wanted to be sure.
No, Pokwase. Sorry. When we came in, we renegotiated it, and we were able to change it to 4-tier for the same amount. So, who is a good management of Ghana's money? Is the NPP.
No,
my brother. Let me finish. If you give a contract to somebody, he said, "I want a 5-bedroom house," and the person says, "Okay, give me £1 million for 5-bedroom house." Then I come in, then I tell the person, "No, I want a 6-bedroom house for the same price," and the person agrees. That means I've done a lot of saving. You see, I've been able to get more for the money that I'm paying. So for the fact that we're able to add 1 more tier to it, meaning that we have been able to save Ghana a lot of money. So it is something that, my brother, you should really be saying that we've done well by trying to change it to a 4-tier interchange. Because you negotiated for 3, we did it for 4 for the same amount. And you're an accountant, my brother. You should know better that when it comes to these issues, when an accountant has done, let's say, has done his account for something, and then he's closed his books, then another person comes and says, "Please, even though you close your books, I want you to open it again, and let's do renegotiation." And we are able to renegotiate, and for them to change the terms of the agreement and to add 1 tier to it for the same price. That is proper management. So you have to rather praise us for doing this proper management. When it comes to Tamale interchange, like you said, it has never happened in the northern part of Ghana. There's not even 1 interchange in the northern part. But NDC has been a party that is always saying, "Oh, they are for the northerners. They are for the northerners. They are for the northerners." You see, NDC is always boasting. I'm sorry, I'm trying to sort it out now. Yeah, NDC is always boasting. They are the party for the North. But I'm here to explain to you that it's never true. It is always when NPP is in power that we do unprecedented infrastructure in Northern region. Look at the Tamale interchange. It will change the whole of Tamale. You see, when you go to the Obichevi one that he's talking about, you see, he shouldn't really blame us for the amount, because some of these things were negotiated by the NDC. So when it comes to roads, during our time, what Bamia was trying to say is that for all the 16 regions that we have now, there is a road work going on in each of these 16 regions. It has never happened in the history of Ghana that a president has been in power for 4 years or 3 years, 8 months, and has done roads in every part of Ghana. When it comes to the NPP, we share the national cake equally. We make sure that every region gets a part of the national cake. That is what Baumia was trying to say, that we share the national cake equally.
Well.
Because if you go to Asante,
Afreh, can I respond very quickly? 1 minute.
If you go to the northern
no, it's just 1 second to correct a misleading impression there.
A lot of roads going on.
Yeah, 30 seconds, please. 30 seconds.
Let me read a final.
Afreh, I think George.
Conrad, I really wish we had more time, but we've exhausted our time on this and even gone beyond that. So, final comment here by Alfred. Freddie says the victory of the NDC is coming again. Vote for President John Mahama and the NDC.
It will never happen.
Infrastructure development. Thank you.
Your nightmare.
My guests have been. My guests have been Conrad Dumbah, chairman of the NDC branch in Milton, Keynes, and also George Odoom, a member of the communications team of the NPP in Luton. And the show has been produced by Edward Balami. My name is Kwakye Afreh-Nuamah. Don't forget to like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also follow us on Instagram and on Twitter. We'll be back again next week with another interesting conversation, topical national issue so far as Ghana is concerned, and pick the thoughts of Ghanaians in the diaspora. Grateful for your time here once again, gentlemen, and do have a lovely.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. Have a good evening.